Tune in to nostalgia. Tune in to now. Golden Radio Hour.
Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
Salud. Your health, senor.
The world toasts Roma, and Roma toasts the world. The wine for your table is Roma, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
This is the man in black here for Roma Wines to introduce this weekly half hour of Suspense. Tonight in Hollywood, our stars are Mr. Robert Young and Margot. The suspense play which stars Robert Young and Margot, and which is produced and directed by William Spear, is A Tale of Ordeal by Fire by Cornell Woolrich. And so, with the night reveals and with the performances of Robert Young and Margot, Roma again hopes to keep you in suspense.
Tell us the story, Mr. Jordan. It might help to get it out of your system.
Yes. Go ahead, Harry.
What? Tell it here, Marie, in front of you?
Sure, I can stand it if you can.
Well, all right. I'll tell it from when I first began to know, for sure, 2 weeks ago. I should have known before that something was wrong. I should have known by her eyes. There was a queer look in them, staring at me one minute and avoiding me the next. Well, I came home late one Monday night. They were asleep, my son Johnny and my wife here, Marie. I lay in bed reviewing my day's work. You see, I'm an investigator for the Herkimer Fire Insurance Company. And while thinking about the fire on 2nd Avenue, I fell asleep. Suddenly, I was sitting bolt upright, wide awake, with a strange feeling of being alone in the room. I looked towards Marie's bed. It was too dark to see. I called, Marie. Marie! There was no answer. I got up and walked to her bed. The quilt was bunched up. I pulled the covers down. The bed was empty. In the bathroom. No, she wasn't there. And not in Johnny's room either. Johnny was alone. Marie wasn't in the apartment. I put on the light and looked at my watch. It was 2 a.m. Got dressed and walked out and rang for the elevator. It was nothing. Of course, it was nothing important, but my heart kept hammering away.
Morning, Mr. Jordan. Kind of late for the...
Yes, good morning, Steve. Did you see my wife go down?
Yes, Mr. Jordan. About half an hour ago, I'd say.
Yes, of course. Did you see which way she went?
Yes, she went towards 3rd Avenue. Said she was going
Went to the drugstore, I guess.
Yes, that's right. There's one over on 96th Street. Open all night.
Thanks. That was it. She went to the drugstore. I was worried over nothing at all. I didn't know what to do quite. I didn't want to follow her, but the elevator boy was watching me, so I strolled easily along towards 3rd Avenue. I stood on the deserted dark corner and looked up and down the street. Then I saw her coming. She was walking towards me briskly.
Harry, what are you doing here?
Well, I got up and saw you were gone, and
I couldn't sleep. I had a dreadful headache, so I decided to go down for some aspirin.
Yes. Yes, of course. The drugstore on 96th Street. But you were coming from 98th Street.
I took a little walk. I thought some fresh air would do me some good.
Yes. It is a nice night.
I've only been gone about 10 minutes.
Steve says you were gone about a half hour.
It was only 10 minutes. What time is it now?
2:35.
I've been out for almost 15 minutes.
Oh, it's more than...
It was 15 minutes, no more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Everything seemed all right. Still, I felt something was wrong. We got into our apartment and we both went to bed. For a minute or so, we said nothing.
You've been working hard, Harry. Don't you think you ought to take a week off and sort of rest up?
Oh, I feel perfectly all right, dear. There's nothing wrong with me.
Listen. A fire. A fire.
Yes, not far. Over east a couple of blocks. By the river, I'd say. That's my district.
A fire.
Oh, what the... Hello.
Hello, Harry. I'm sorry to wake you in the middle of the night. There's a bad one over near you between 2nd and 3rd. Maybe a total loss.
Between 2nd and 3rd, Mr. Parmenter? An apartment building?
Yeah, 98th Street, 340 East 98. I called you because I'd like you to go there direct first thing in the morning instead of come at the office, okay? I'll meet you there.
Okay, Mr. Parmenter. Good night.
A fire? On 98th Street?
Yeah. I couldn't see Marie in the dark. I knew she was staring at me. I was very tired. Good night, Marie.
Good night, Harry.
This is a story of a husband and a wife. In a moment, as the story continues, we shall learn how they came to know that death was living with them. Tonight, the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California, brings you Robert Young and Margot as stars of Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills.
Somewhere tonight, perhaps in Havana, Cuba, a man and a girl sit at a table in a gay cafe. Music, laughter fill the big room. A tropic breeze stirs the palms on the terrace. As we watch, the young man pours wine into their glasses. They raise them in a toast to each other.
Salud.
Salud. Ah, an excellent wine, verdad? As pleasant to the taste as your beauty is to the eye.
Oh.
Do you know where this fine wine comes from? It comes from our good neighbor to the north, Los Estados Unidos, from America. His name is Roma.
Yes,
Roma
from
wine.
our own America, from our own sunny California come Roma wines. Made in California for the enjoyment of the world. Doesn't that tell you all you need to know to make you want to choose Roma wines for your own use? Whether your particular preference is for a nut brown sherry, a delicious red claret, a full-bodied burgundy, when you choose Roma, you know you are getting the world's best wine value. For Roma wines are America's largest selling wines. Only through such tremendous popularity can Roma afford to sell so reasonably wines into which have gone all the care and wine knowledge that produce wine masterpieces. There is a Roma wine for every taste. Simply choose the one you like best. Roma wine, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
And now it is with pleasure that we bring back to our soundstage Mr. Robert Young as Harry Jordan and Margot as Marie, his wife, in The Night Reveals, a story well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Go on, Mr. Jordan.
Well, gentlemen, the next morning I went over to 98th Street to inspect the remains of number 340 and to see if there was evidence of anything suspicious about the origin of the fire. Mr. Parmenter was there.
Well, there it is. Gutted. I guess we'll be paying off on this one, all right.
Yeah, completely burned out. Anyone hurt?
Well, a few, but no one dead. Lucky they just installed the new fire escapes.
Just the walls left. That fire must have been quite a sight in the height of its glory.
Yeah, quite a sight. Hey, those walls look pretty bad. They might collapse almost any time.
And the building will have to be raised. That fire did a good job.
Oh, here's the commissioner.
Hello, Parmenter. Jordan.
How are you, Mr. Morale?
You know anything about the fire commissioner?
No, not a thing.
Well, we'll take a look.
I wouldn't go in there, Jordan. Those walls are pretty
I
bad.
can take care of myself.
Maybe you better not go inside, Harry.
Don't worry about me. I know fires as well as anyone. You stay outside, Mr. Parmenter. I'm going in. I walked gingerly into the blackened, ruined hallway, in ashes up to my ankles, until I reached the remains of the stairway. Underneath were several baby carriages, just twisted pieces of metal. A burned fragment of something fell nearby.
Come on back, Jordan.
I'm all right. I poked around the carriages, sifting through the clean, fine ashes. Something caught my eye. A glob of yellow metal. I picked it up. Then I worked my way out.
Going through, isn't she?
Yep. Clean through. Nothing left of her.
Did you find anything, Harry?
Nothing much. The fire started in the hallway, all right. Cellar's untouched. Fire works its way up.
What's that in your hand?
Well, that is just a piece of metal I found. Here. I just picked it up for my kid. He likes shiny things.
What do you think, Commissioner?
Probably one of those gadgets they have on baby carriages.
No, I guess you're right. It isn't anything.
But it was something. I had run my fingernail across this glob of metal. It looked like gold. I decided to examine it in detail at home.
Hello, Daddy.
Hiya, Johnny.
Mama says I was bad today.
Harry, you're home early.
Yes, I got through sooner than I expected, and
What is it, Harry?
Your locket. You're not wearing it. You never had it off before.
My locket? Well, don't you remember?
Daddy, can I go over to see Davy Taylor for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
All right. Gee, thanks, Daddy.
You shouldn't have done that. I didn't want him to go. He hasn't had his dinner.
Never mind, Johnny. What did you say happened to the locket?
Well, I gave it to you.
To me?
Yes, I put it in your pocket to have it fixed. The catch was loose.
I don't remember.
You've been very forgetful lately. Very forgetful.
Maybe you thought you gave it to me.
No, I put it in your pocket, Harry. I forgot to mention it to you. I wanted you to take it to the jeweler's and get the catch fixed. I just put it in your coat pocket while you were shaving.
When?
Yesterday? Yes. Yesterday morning.
Then it should be in my pocket now. I wore this suit yesterday, too. Nothing in my pockets, Marie.
Well?
Marie.
Yes, Harry?
Is anything wrong with you? Don't you feel...
With me? No, of course not. I'm all right. I'm perfectly all right. There's not a thing wrong with me.
You look worried, as if you've got something on your mind.
Oh, it's nothing. I've just been having a headache.
Maybe you ought to see a doctor.
Oh, no, it really doesn't amount to much.
Well, I think I'll take another look for the locket. Which suit did you say you put it in?
Your blue suit, I think. Or maybe it was the gray, though. I don't quite...
I couldn't make it out. What had she done with the locket? Had she pawned it? Had she given it away? Then I remembered something. I went into the bathroom and locked the door. I looked at this shapeless little glob of yellow metal. I rubbed the blackened spots away, all of it until it was gleaming. I studied it, turning it over and over. I noticed a thin crack. It was small, so I took a nail file out of the medicine chest and began to file it. I kept filing until I had enlarged the crack to the full length of a piece of gold. Then I slipped the nail file inside and pried it open. Tiny fragments of glass, and then I saw a piece of scorched paper. It was a photograph. Picture of my son, Johnny. This glob of metal was my wife's locket. I put the locket and the picture in my pocket and walked out. For the next hour, I sat trying to read a book while Marie busied herself, first feeding Johnny and then helping him with his homework.
What's the largest continent in the world?
Oh, I know. It's Asia.
And the next largest?
Oh, that's easy. Africa. It's full of jungles. That's where Tarzan lives.
Isn't it time for Johnny to be in bed?
Oh, yes, I had no idea it was so late. Run along to your room, Johnny. I'll be in a minute.
All right, Mother. Good night, Dad.
Good night, Johnny. Sleep well.
He's getting along very well in school, except for arithmetic. He seems to be having a little trouble.
Oh, Johnny will be all right.
Yes. Johnny will be all right. I know he'll be all right.
I watched her. She seemed very uneasy. I walked over to my pipe rack where I kept several books of matches in a jar. There weren't any there. All this time, I knew she was watching me closely. I looked behind the rack. There wasn't a match around. What the devil happened to all my matches?
I have a match here. Let me light it for you.
Did you take the matches out of the jar, Marie?
Well,
Did you?
Yes, I needed them in the kitchen. Shall I light your pipe for you?
No, I'll light it myself. I picked a match out of the booklet. It was a clean white match with a green head. I struck it against the side. The match sputtered up into a yellow flame, fringed on the bottom with blue. Marie stared at it until I felt the sharp bite of the flame on my thumb.
Would you like a cup of tea, Harry?
No, dear, I don't think so. I watched her. Her hand casually brushed along the table and picked up the matches. Marie!
Oh.
Leave the matches on the table.
I need them. I'm rather short of matches, and the pilot light isn't working.
Is this the only book of matches in the house?
I'll have to get some tomorrow. Where are you going, Harry?
Get a drink of water.
No. I'll get it for you, Harry.
Never mind, Marie. I'll get it myself. I went into the kitchen. There was a paper bag alongside the gas range. Matches. All thrown in, helter-skelter. Books of matches and safety matches, all mixed together. I walked back and sat down in my chair. She sat a few feet away, torturing a handkerchief. She looked so helpless and terrified that my anger passed away. Marie, you've been having headaches lately. Perhaps you ought to see a doctor. You haven't been looking too well.
I'm just tired. It's nothing serious.
Look, how would you like to go away for a few days? Take a vacation. I'll get a maid to take care of Johnny and me. It'll do you a lot of good.
No, I don't need a vacation. There's nothing wrong with me, but, Harry, there is...
Yes?
There's nothing the matter with...
You were about to say something else.
I've got to go into Johnny's room and see that he's covered. He always throws the covers off.
I sat there looking at the door. Then I glanced about the room. There was the pack of matches lying open on the table. I closed the cover, and my eye caught her purse lying nearby. It was bulging.
Harry!
Well, what's the matter?
My purse!
Yes, your purse. Here, look. See, the handle's loose. And it's full of matches. A dozen books of them. And these newspaper clippings.
Give it back to me.
Why are you saving these clippings? Why do you carry matches with you?
I bought the matches in a store. They were a dozen for 5 cents.
These clippings, look here. Fire on 112th Street causes severe damage. And these others. Why are you saving these clippings, Marie?
There's nothing wrong in that. I'm interested in your work. I intend to keep a file on fires. It'll help you in your work.
Well, that's very considerate, Marie.
Oh, Harry, you're so good. Why should this have to happen to us?
Towards midnight, I went to bed. Marie didn't follow me. I lay in the semi-darkness, wide awake, trying to think what I should do. I couldn't collect my thoughts. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see the flame of the match, yellow and blue, crawling along the matchstick. Then Marie came in with a cup of steaming liquid.
Drink this, Harry. It'll help you sleep.
Oh, what is it?
It's cocoa. It's very good for you.
I'm not the one that's having trouble falling asleep.
We both couldn't sleep last night. I'm taking some of this myself as soon as I go to bed.
All right, leave it on the nightstand.
Be sure to drink it while it's hot.
Yes, Marie, I will.
Good night, darling.
Good night, Marie. Cocoa. Then suddenly I knew. I looked around quickly for something to pour it in. There was the radiator pan. It was empty. I poured the cup of liquid into it. Then I lay back and waited. Waited for her next move. About a half hour later, I heard the door open softly and Marie tiptoed towards my bed.
Harry. Harry. Are you asleep?
I didn't answer, but breathed evenly. She hovered for a moment over me, then she tiptoed out, carefully closing the door behind her. I dashed out of bed and hurried into my clothes. Quickly, I poured the liquid from the pan into a bottle and put it into my pocket. Then I grabbed my coat and followed her. I rang for the elevator. She had only a few minutes headway. I would catch up to her easily, and then we'd have a showdown. Steve looked at me with controlled amazement. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Mr. Jordan.
My wife went down a moment ago, didn't she?
Yes, Mr. Jordan. Just took her down.
She went towards 3rd Avenue, didn't she?
I think so. She sort of stopped me for a minute and then turned towards 3rd. Had to get back to the elevator because you were ringing.
When I reached the corner, I looked up and down 3rd Avenue, and I saw her. She was walking north. I crossed to the other side of the street and followed her, keeping at a distance. At 98th Street, she turned east. Down the middle of the block was the remains of last night's fire. She paused in front of the gutted building for a long time, just stood there, looking at it. Then she walked inside. I waited for a few seconds and then followed her. It was pitch dark in the burnt-out hallway. Ahead of me, I could see the glow of a match. Then I saw what she was doing. She was collecting the charred debris near the baby carriages. How foolish. There wasn't anything that could burn there now. She lit another match. I watched the flame light up her face. A face so intent upon her work that she didn't hear me approach. Marie?
Who's there?
It's me, Harry.
Harry, why did you...
Come along, Marie. We'd better get out of here. The police. I took her hand, and without a word, she came along. We walked home in complete silence. We both knew. When we came to our apartment house, I stopped and rang for the elevator. In the light of the hallway, I could see her face. My wife's face. Ashy gray. Her eyes bright and painful. You run upstairs, Marie. I'll be along in a minute.
Harry, where are you going?
I'll be right back.
Please, Harry, don't do anything.
You run along, Marie.
You're not going to...
No, I'm only going to the drugstore to get something. I'll be back in a few minutes. I came home a half hour later. She was waiting for me.
Did you do it, Harry? Harry, please tell me. I've got to know.
I had the cocoa you gave me analyzed.
I'm sorry. I had to do it. Don't you see? I couldn't help it.
It was very easy for the druggist, especially when I told him what I thought was in it. Sodium amytal. That's the stuff that makes you sleep through an earthquake.
Please try to understand, Harry. You must understand.
Is the kid asleep?
Yes, Johnny's all right.
I was sorry for Marie. She looked so haggard and worn. It wasn't her fault. I was sorry for myself. My head was roaring. I wasn't feeling too well. Kept seeing sparks in front of my eyes. I closed my eyes for a moment.
Let's go to bed, Harry.
Marie, we can do something. Let's burn up every match. Every match in the house. We'll never bring another match in here.
No, Harry, we can't do that.
You don't want to?
No, Harry, not now.
See, this is the first book. It's turning black. We'll do it with every book of matches.
It's no use, Harry.
Strange, isn't it, that this should happen to me? Me, a fire inspector. That's funny. Give me the matches, Marie, all the matches.
No, I can't do it. I won't.
Give them to me.
Please don't take them. I'll do anything you want, anything.
Where did you hide them? Tell me, where are they?
Inside the range, behind the paper bag.
I dropped her hand and she sank to the floor in a huddle, weeping. Then I went into the kitchen and got all the matches. By now, my anger was cooling off. Look, Marie, look up. See? I'll light each book of matches, one at a time, until they're all gone up in smoke. The yellow flame licked its way down the matches. The cover caught fire and blackened. I watched her look at the flame with dazed eyes.
Listen, Harry, do you hear?
Just someone in the hall.
Oh, it's more than someone. Something's happened. Something has happened.
I'll take a look.
Hey, Mr. Jordan, the house is on fire.
The house is on fire.
Yes, Marie, wake up Johnny.
Johnny!
We'll have to hurry. The flames are coming up the stairs. There's an upward draft.
What's the matter, Mother?
The house is on fire. We've got to get out, Johnny. Come on.
It's too late to go down. We'll have to go up through the roof.
Oh, I've hurt my leg.
Come along, Johnny.
Mother, wait for Mother.
She'll come along.
No, I want to wait for Mother.
It's all right, Johnny. Go along with Daddy. I'll follow you.
No, I won't go. I won't go without you, Mother.
Hold on to my arm, Marie. Come on. Give me your hand, Johnny. Don't be scared. The fire won't hurt you. It won't hurt you at all. You're safe with me. We made our way upstairs, very slowly because of Marie's sprained ankle. Finally, we got to the roof. There were some firemen on the next roof. About 10 feet separated the two buildings.
Don't get panicky. We'll get you off safely.
Are we gonna have to jump across, Daddy? Because Mother won't be able to jump. Her foot.
It's all right, Johnny. Don't be scared.
They're putting a board across the two roofs. We'll just walk across.
All right, now. One at a time. Tie the rope around you and come across.
Johnny, you go first. Don't be afraid. There. Now, the rope will hold you in case you slip.
Mother, you gotta go first.
I'll go right after you, Johnny.
You promise?
Go ahead, Johnny, and others will follow you. Don't turn around. Keep walking.
All right. Kid's safe. Now, you lady. Be careful, the board. Hey, the board slipped off. Hurry, one of you guys. Get another board.
Mother! I want my mother.
Your mother's gonna be all right, kid.
You pushed the board off, Harry. I saw you do it.
No, I didn't, Marie. I didn't.
All right, lady. Just tie the rope around you. Don't be afraid. Don't look down. Ready? Okay, boys. She's all right. Now you, mister. That's right. Tie the rope around you.
Okay.
All set? Okay.
On the ground, we stood there, the three of us, watching the fire. Sparks were shooting up through the hole where it had bitten through. Great flames shot out, stabbing at the sky. The top of the roof was burning now. Red flame crawled along, searching out the inflammable spots. The wooden pole caught fire and blazed up in a long, narrow, curving arc. The wind was helping her. All this time, Marie was shaking violently. not with cold. I pitied her. And then she threw up her hands and shrieked.
Harry!
Now, darling, don't.
I can't stand it. We can't go on this way. Police! Police, come here!
Don't do it, Marie. There's no need to. Not the police. You don't know what you're saying.
What is it, lady? You'd better calm down now.
Officer, please.
No,
They know
it's no use, Harry. Officer, these awful fires, they're not accidental. There's a pyromaniac, a criminal.
What?
And I know who it is. You've got to arrest the person. Arrest. So there won't be any more.
All right, lady. Now, what is this? Who is the pyromaniac?
The criminal is my husband, Harry Jordan. This man here. Arrest him, officer.
Well, that's about all there is to the story, gentlemen. Then I was brought here. Must have sounded kind of, well, painful for you to hear it all over again, Marie.
No, it was all right, Harry.
I wonder, I got a cigarette. Could I?
No, I'll light it for you, Harry.
You don't have to worry. I won't try and keep the matches here. She's been awfully good to me, gentlemen. You'll take good care of her, won't you? She tried everything to help. She hid the matches so as to keep them from me. She even tried to give me sleeping pills so I wouldn't.
It's all right, Harry.
I'm sorry about the locket, dear. Must have fallen out of my coat when I was in that building at 98th Street.
It's all right, Harry. You can buy me another one sometime.
You can't blame anybody for liking fires. It's not their fault. Fires are beautiful to watch. So bright and clean. They burn up all the filth and dirt. And they're magnificent to watch. Especially the big ones. The way the flames roar and crackle, lighting up everything around you. The beautiful fire. The beautiful fire.
And so closes The Night Reveals, starring Mr. Robert Young and Margot. Tonight's tale of Suspense.
I want you to know that the distinguished Roma California wines include the most enjoyable types for every possible occasion. Dry table wines, red and white, appetizer and dessert wines, and also champagne and sparkling burgundy. Nothing can add more downright pleasure to your meals or to your entertainment of friends. And no enjoyment could be more economical. For not only are they supremely delicious, Roma wines are America's largest selling wines, and they cost only a few cents a glass. The vast quantities regularly purchased and enjoyed by wine lovers, the advantageous locations of the great Roma wineries in the favored wine districts throughout California, these things permit truly modest prices that make Roma wines the world's outstanding wine values. Roma, R-O-M-A. Roma wines are true to type. Roma wines are faithful in flavor. Roma wines are sound of character. Roma wines are reasonable in cost. Made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
This is Robert Young. It's been a great pleasure for me to appear tonight on Suspense, one of my very favorite programs. And I know you'll want to be listening next Thursday when my friend and colleague at Metro Goldwyn Mayer, Mr. Charles Lawton, will be your star.
Don't forget then, next Thursday, same time, for Charles Lawton in Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A. Made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
Salud. Your health, senor.
Roma toasts the world. The wine for your table is Roma, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
This is the man in black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California, to introduce this weekly half hour of Suspense. Tonight in Hollywood, Roma brings you the MGM star, Mr. Charles Lawton. The suspense play which stars Charles Lawton and which is produced and directed by William Spear is called Wet Saturday. This remarkable and sardonic story is rather difficult to describe. It most certainly isn't a whodunit. Is it, Mr. Lawton?
No, it definitely isn't. The question involved is not at all a matter of who done it. It's a matter of whether or not the who done it is going to get it in the neck. And if not, then who is, regardless of who actually done it. It's very complicated.
Very well put, sir.
And before the curtain rises on Suspense, will you eavesdrop with me a moment? Dinner is over. A delightful dinner in one of the great homes of a land far to the south. And one of the guests is complimenting his host.
Ah, Raoul, your reputation as a host grows with each of your magnificent dinners. That superb wine tonight, where did you find such perfection?
I will tell you a great secret. When I visited our good neighbor, the United States, I tasted the wines of their California and knew instantly it was a great wine country. And I learned that some of their very choicest vineyards produced the wine we enjoyed tonight. Roma wine.
Our good neighbor to the south is right. Our own sunny California provides perfect conditions of climate and soil to produce some of the world's finest wines. And note this. What your wine connoisseur of another land prized as an expensive import, with import duties and high shipping costs included in his purchase price, comes to you from the great Roma wineries in California as an inexpensive American product. Roma's wide varieties of types and Roma's modest costs means that you can enjoy these fine wines often when entertaining guests as a pre-meal appetizer, to serve with meals, or for after-dinner enjoyment. You will be amazed at how little your dealer will ask for an assortment of several types of these fine Roma wines. Visit your dealer tomorrow and ask him for Roma, R-O-M-A, America's largest selling wine. Made in California for enjoyment throughout the world.
And now, with Wet Saturday, and with the performance of Charles Lawton, we again hope to keep you in suspense. On this rainy afternoon, we should like you to meet the Princey family and their visitor. They are, of course, at home. Mrs. Princey, daughter Millicent, George, the son and heir, sprawled on a couch, and finally, Mr. Princey, biting on a dry pipe. Their living room is dull and overstuffed. Rain beats at the windows. They are any middle-class family at home on a wet day, except for one small item. As you sit with them in the living room, you can see through the door to the sun porch a pair of men's feet encased in high black shoes. They look like the feet of a curate. There is a tenseness in the room. The air is charged with excitement. But the feet are very still.
Well, don't keep staring at them. Listen to me, all of you. Don't you see? They'd hang her. That's what they'd do. They'd hang her.
Oh, Fred, it's too awful.
Awful? It's catastrophic. A supposedly sweet, gentle, intelligent girl, respected and loved by the whole village, doing a thing like this. Think of the publicity and the disgrace. Do you think I'm going to resign from the bench, the vestry, and sell out and live in some foggy hotel abroad? Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
I'll kill myself. I will.
Don't be a fool.
Any more than you have been, the governor may.
Will you be quiet? Wouldn't be so bad if it were you, George. Everybody in the village knows you're not responsible. Get off that couch and sit up in your spine. You might be of a little use here if you could think.
Oh, but I say, Governor, this isn't my funeral.
Shut up. As long as I can remember, George, you've been a trial and tribulation to me.
Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
You've got to stand it, my dear, and keep that hysterical note out of your voice. Do you hear?
Yes.
Yes. We're talking about the weather. Now, George.
Yeah?
George, if he fell down the old well, say, striking his head several times, what about that?
I really don't know, Governor. What about it?
Don't be an ass, George. I'm asking you to think. He'd have had to hit the side several times in 30 or 40 feet at all the correct angles. No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid that won't do it. Oh, we'll have to go over it all again, Millicent.
Oh, no, Father. No, I couldn't.
Millicent, we must go over it all again.
Fred, you're torturing her.
Oh, face facts, mater. With him lying there, no use pretending it's a picnic.
They might hang you, Millicent. Oh, do stop that shaking. Stop it, Millicent. Stop it. You must stop it. And you must keep your voice quiet, Millicent. We are talking about the weather. Now we will proceed.
I can't, not with those feet there.
You should have thought of that, Millie. I'm not moving her.
Shut up, George. And stop shuffling your feet. Now, Millicent, look at me. And answer me truthfully. Do you hear? Answer me. You were in the croquet court?
Yes.
Who knew you were in love with this wretched curate?
The whole village knows. They've been sniggering about it in the pub for the 3 years past.
Shut up, George. Millicent, we continue. You were on the croquet court?
Yes.
You were putting the croquet set into its box?
Yes, it was starting to rain. I was carrying the balls and mallets into the sun porch. The box was there.
You heard someone enter the garden gate and come across the yard?
Yes.
Could you see who it was?
Not at first. I was going into the sun porch. I threw down all the mallets but the red one and turned round.
And it was Withers?
Yes.
So you called him?
Yes.
Loudly?
Oh.
Did you call him loudly? Could anyone have heard?
No, Father, I'm sure not. I didn't really call him. I just spoke his name. He saw me as I went to the door, and he just waved his hand and came over.
Now, can I find out from you whether there was anyone about, whether he could have been seen?
I'm sure not, Father. I'm quite sure.
So you both went into the sun porch?
Yes, it was raining hard then.
What did he say?
He said, "Hello, Millie," and excuse his coming in the back way, but he'd set out to walk over to Liston.
Yes?
And he said, passing the park, he'd seen the house and suddenly thought of me, and he thought he'd just look in for a minute. He had something to tell me.
Yes, go on.
He said he was so happy he wanted me to share it. He'd heard from the bishop he was to have vicarage, and it wasn't only that. It meant he could marry. And he began to stutter and get all confused, and because I thought it meant me.
Don't tell me what you thought. Tell me exactly what he said, nothing else.
Yes, answer, Governor.
Well, oh, dear.
Stop crying. It's a luxury you can no longer afford. Tell me what happened.
He said, no. He said it wasn't me. It's Ella Bragdon Davis.
Oh.
And he was sorry and all that. Then he went to go.
And then?
I got mad. He turned his back. I had the red mallet of the croquet set in my hand. I'd forgot to drop it in the box when I came, and I was just...
Did you shout or scream? I mean, as you hit him?
No, I'm sure I didn't.
Did he? Come on, speak up. You got a tongue in your head.
No, Father.
And then?
I threw it down. I came straight in here. I went to look for Mother, that's all. My poor baby.
And you're sure no one else was about?
No one. Leave the child alone, Fred.
You're not such a child, mater. Oh, Millie, I had no idea.
George, will you keep quiet? I'm thinking. You see, George, he probably told people he was going to Liston. Certainly no one knows he came here, for he didn't decide until he crossed the park. He might have been attacked in the woods. We must consider every detail. A curate with his head battered in.
Oh, don't, Father, don't.
Oh, shut up. A curate with his head battered in. A curate with his head battered in. Well, who would want to kill Withers?
Who'd want to kill Withers? Well, I would, with pleasure. How do you do, Mrs. Prinsep?
Captain Smollett.
Well.
Sit down. Pray, you mustn't get up for me, Mrs. Princey. You are the Millicent, my word. I'm just being neighborly on a bad day. I wanted to ask you about those dahlia bulbs, Princey. I took a short cut on account of the rain and walked right in. I knew you wouldn't mind.
He heard you, Father.
Oh, dear. We can all have our little jokes, can't we? Now, don't you pretend to be shocked. This way, Smollett. This chair facing the fireplace, old man. Sit down, Mother.
Just straightening the curtain to the sun porch, dear. It looks so gloomy out there. Might as well shut the rain out.
Well, we were just talking about a little theoretical cure at killing, Smollett. Young people these days like thrillers.
Parsonicide? Justifiable parsonicide. You heard about Ella Bragdon Davis? I should be a proper laughingstock.
Why should you be a proper laughingstock, Smollett?
I had a shot in that direction myself.
Did you?
She half said yes, too. Hadn't you heard? She told most people. Now I'll look as if I were jilted.
Too bad.
Oh, the fortune of war.
Yes, fortune of war. Yes, odd how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sit down, Smollett, old man. Mother, Millicent, would you console Captain Smollett with your best light conversation? George and I have something to look at outside. The rain, you know. It's very bad, very bad. Come along, George.
Right, Governor. Perhaps we'll need raincoats, huh?
Oh, I don't think so, George. Just make yourself at home, Smollett. Make yourself at home, old boy.
A cigarette, Captain Smollett?
Thank you. Nasty day to be going out.
Oh, it's something about the old well just off the sun porch door, you know. This terrible sudden weather seems to have loosened some of the stones.
Too bad. Too dash bad. Spoils the tennis and the croquet. I mean, a day like this, doesn't it, Millie?
Yes, it does.
She was practicing out on the croquet court earlier. But do pull your chair nearer the fire, Captain. It was so damp we thought it would be cozy to light it.
Thank you. I'm quite comfortable.
I hope you don't feel too bad about Ella Bragdon Davis.
Oh, can't always win, you know. Can't understand, though, what you women see in these bloodless clerics.
Oh, I always thought Mr. Withers was is a very charming man.
I quite agree, but why should anyone want to marry him? You wouldn't want to marry him, would you, Millie?
Not now. That is, I used to. Oh, no, of course not.
Smollett.
Yes, Princey. Good Lord, man. You come on a fellow suddenly.
I suppose I did. You don't mind this old double-barreled shotgun, do you, Smollett? I've been working on it. Might I have your attention for a minute? There's something on the sun porch I'd like to show you.
Yes, of course.
Smollett, George and I went out to see if we could shoot some rats which had been driven out of the old well by the high water. We were afraid they might get into the house. But you must listen to me very carefully, or you'll be shot. By accident.
Princey, what's the matter with you?
You heard me ask as you came in who would kill Withers. You also heard Millicent make a comment. An unguarded comment.
Well, what of it?
Very little, unless you were to hear that Withers had met with a violent end this afternoon. And that, my dear Smollett, is what you are going to hear.
What? Withers dead?
Yes.
Who killed him?
Millicent.
Oh. Good Lord.
Oh, shut up, sniveling Millie. Yes, it's a mess. And of course you would have remembered and guessed.
Oh, maybe, yes, I suppose I should.
Therefore, you constitute a problem.
Why did she kill him?
It's one of those disgusting things. Pitiable, too, I think. She deluded herself that he was in love with her.
Good heavens. Millie, yes, of course, I see.
He told her about the Davis girl, Ella Bragdon Davis.
I understand.
I have no wish, as you will comprehend, that she should be proved either a lunatic or a murderess. I could hardly go on living here after that, could I? Besides, I'm rather fond of Millie.
Quite.
On the other hand, you know about it.
Yes, I see. That makes me a problem. You were wondering if I could keep my mouth shut. If I promised?
I'm wondering if I could believe you.
But if I promised?
If things went smoothly, yes. But not if there was any sort of suspicion or any questioning. You would be afraid of being an accessory.
I don't know.
I do. What are we going to do?
I can't see anything else. I mean, you'll never be fool enough to do me in. You can't get rid of two corpses.
Well, I regard it as a better risk than the other. It could be an accident, or you and Withers could both disappear. There are possibilities in that, of course.
Listen, you can't...
I can. But there may be a way out. There is, Smollett. You gave it to me yourself.
I did? What?
Well, you said you would kill Withers. You have a motive.
Oh, look here now. I was
now,
joking.
Listen, Smollett, I can't trust you. You must trust me, or else I will kill you now in the next minute. I mean that. You can choose between living and dying.
Go on.
There's the old well just outside the sun porch door. That's where I'm going to put Withers. No one outside knows he's come up here this afternoon. No one will ever look there for him unless you tell them. Now, you must give me evidence that you have murdered Withers.
I murdered him? Why do you want that?
So that I shall be dead sure that you'll never open your lips on the subject.
I see. What evidence?
George.
Yes, Governor?
Hit him in the face.
Sure.
You keep out of this, man.
Oh, Captain, you should be more careful. Look what your teeth did to my knuckle.
Do it again, George.
Okay.
Father, how can
now, you keep quiet, Millie. Stop sniveling. I'm sorry, Smollett, but there must be traces of a struggle between you and Withers. Then it will be not altogether safe for you to go to the police. Now, George, would you get the croquet mallet?
Oh, right,
yes.
okay.
And, George, take your handkerchief to it. You'll find it there on the sun porch floor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got it, Governor.
That's right, boy.
There, Captain, there's the weapon.
See, as I told you, Smollett, there it was. Now, if you please, just grasp the end that mashed Withers' head. I shall shoot you if you don't.
Good Lord, you can't.
There.
All right.
That's it, old boy. That's right. Now, deposit it by the side of the house. Out of the rain, of course. Now, wait, George. First, you'd better pull a few hairs out of his head and put them under the nail of Withers' right hand.
Wait, I'm sorry to mess your hair up, Captain.
Oh! Don't be a baby, Smollett.
That's all we need. And now for Withers, and we'll fix it right up. I'll be right with you, Governor.
Smollett, you may turn round now. Withers is just there in the sun porch. Draw back the curtain, old man.
Good Lord.
Yes. Messy. Now, you, Smollett. Now, you've just got to drag him through the door and dump him in the old well.
Just beyond the door, Captain.
I won't touch him, I won't.
All right, all right. Stand aside, George. Out of range, George. Just over there.
Oh.
There's only one place I want this charge of shot to go to.
Father.
Now, Millie, you keep quiet and stop sniveling. My aim is...
Wait a minute. Wait, I'll...
That's better. That's better, Smollett. Much better. Now, go along now. In here. You've got to take him outside, old boy.
By the shoulders ought to do it, Captain.
You keep quiet, George. Now, go on, Smollett. Go on. Under the arms. You've seen dead men before. Now, don't go green. Drag him out. Drag him, old boy. Do a little pulling. I'll just hold the gun here to make sure. Everything goes all right. Steady now. Mind the step there.
Mother.
Come away from the window, dear. Don't look.
But Captain Smollett.
Your father is a very resourceful man, Millicent. I'm sure what he's doing
but
is
the Captain, I can't stand
You
it.
mustn't question your dear father.
Say, you two still at it. There's enough trouble around here without blubbering.
Don't you call me blubbering, George Princey.
No,
Well, you see, Smollett, everything is perfectly safe. You remember, that no one knows that Withers came here. Everyone thinks he walked off to Liston. And that's 5 miles of country to search. They'll never look in our well. Don't you see how safe it is?
I guess so.
Good heavens, old boy, you're dripping wet. Why don't you slip your raincoat on? Is the tea ready, dear?
In just a minute, dear. I'll ring for Bridget.
It's exactly what you need, Smollett. A nice, hot cup of tea. It's the best thing in the world to ward off a cold. Sit down, won't you, old man? Don't you mind getting the chair wet. That's all right. Would you have a cigarette?
No.
Help yourself, old boy. See, I stick to my pipe. Funny how you get attached to pipes. My wife always says to me...
Everything's hot, ma'am.
Oh, Bridget, yes. Put the tray in front of me here on the table. That's it.
Say, Captain. Why, you've cut your lip.
I just knocked it.
Why, how dreadful. Here, Bridget, give the captain this cup.
No, thank you. I rather think I'll be running along, if you don't mind.
Why, Captain Smollett, without any tea?
If you don't mind, Mrs. Princey, if I could just have my raincoat.
Oh, I'll get it for you, Captain.
This is very distressing, Smollett. Very odd.
I'll be all right presently, I'm sure.
Oh, here we are. Let me help you, sir.
Thank you, young man.
There. You'd better go out the front way, Smollett. The walk is drier.
Oh, let me hold the door for you, Captain.
And don't worry, old fellow. Don't worry at all.
No. I won't. Good afternoon.
It's nothing serious, I imagine, dear. A little rest, of course. He'll be as right as rain. Oh, by the way, Millicent, you're not looking any too well, dear.
Not well at all. I'm sure it was that croquet court. Being outdoors in weather like this is simply foolhardy.
Yes.
Oh, mate is right, Millie. You saw what happened to Captain Smollett.
Come along, dear. I shall give you a hot foot bath and put you to bed. A couple of days in bed and you'll be fine again.
Now, you get plenty of rest, Millicent, and don't you worry about a thing. That's the best cure for you, dear.
I guess I'll have a little nap, too, Governor. Fine afternoon for a nap.
Yes, it is. Nice. Indeed it is, Sam. Well, enjoy yourself, boy. I'll see you later. I'll see you all later.
Your number, please.
Oh, would you get me to the police station?
Police station. Right away, sir.
Police headquarters, Sergeant Yancey speaking.
Oh, hello, Sergeant. This is Princey of Abbott's Road. I believe you know me.
Oh, indeed I do, Mr. Princey.
Sergeant, a rather horrible thing has just occurred. Quite extraordinary. It's murder, in fact.
Murder?
I'm afraid it looks rather bad. Well, for a close friend of ours, unfortunately. We saw him do it. I think you'd better send someone over right away.
Well, a man should be there right about now, Mr. Princey.
I beg your pardon?
I say our man should be there now. Constable Martin has his post right below your house there, just rang in. Seems Captain Smollett was with him.
Captain Smollett?
He reported some rather queer goings-on at your place, but I certainly didn't understand it was murder. But just don't touch anything, Mr. Princey, and don't worry. Don't worry at all.
No, Sergeant. I won't worry, thank you.
Governor, where are you? Governor, where are you?
I'm right here, and stop shouting.
We have some visitors, Governor.
I can see that. I'm not... Well, Constable, good afternoon. Hello, Smollett. See, what a remarkable fellow you are, coming back like this. Here to reenact a crime.
Only the one against me, Princey. The one against the curate I'll leave to you people.
Extraordinary sense of humor you have.
Mr. Princey, I just had a look at what's in your well. Not a pretty sight, that. Not pretty at all.
Yes, Captain Smollett was thorough, if nothing else.
You saw him when he did it, sir, out in the back?
Oh, yes. Oh, quite. We were just returning from a walk, and Smollett had evidently been laying for the curate, hiding out in those bushes by the road, I imagine.
He was never inside this house?
Never.
And you say, Captain?
I say that while I was inside this house, a guest of the family, I was coerced into dragging the curate's body outside and dumping it in the well.
Well, there we are.
Well, not entirely, Constable. I'll just remove my raincoat here and demonstrate how damp I got my clothes when I went outside without it.
Now, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yes. He undoubtedly removed his coat at some point between here and your post. I might as well tell you that his weapon, a red croquet mallet, is out by the side of this house. I shouldn't be at all surprised that you'd find his fingerprints all over it.
All over the end of the mallet, Constable. The end that mashed Withers' head. Not the end I'd have to grasp in order to do the mashing.
Governor,
that's a decent try, Smollett, but it won't work. There must be other evidence, Constable. You'll undoubtedly find it when you examine the body.
He means the hair under Withers' nails. Well, sir, I happened to notice something when your young George there opened the door for me. If you'll carefully look, I believe you'll find a few of my precious hairs under his nails, too.
What are you trying to say?
Shut up, George, will you? Constable, this is a complete waste of time. So far as a violent struggle between Smollett and Withers is concerned, Smollett's face speaks for itself quite eloquently.
But no more eloquently than your son's knuckles. As you see, Constable, a fresh abrasion. He did that on my teeth. Or did he?
What?
I said, Or did he? He might have done that on Wither's teeth.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see what you mean.
Oh, but I didn't, Governor. He said that I did it
Now,
on
look here,
Mr.
you
Withers.
keep still, you nitwit. Let me think.
As a matter of fact, George, the more I think of it, the more I'm convinced it was your voice I heard. Quite a vigorous quarrel. Something about the curate jilting your sister.
Don't be ridiculous, Smollett.
Very well, Princey. If he didn't do it, who did?
Yes, that's what I'd like to know. How about it, Mr. Princey?
Yes, that is a sticker, all right.
George, my boy, it looks to me as if you're elected.
Elected? Well, what do you mean? I didn't do it. Well,
Keep your mouth shut, will
But
you?
I won't, sir. I'm not going to take the blame for her. Millie did it. She did it with the mallet. I saw her.
Me?
Why, yeah.
Millie? You could prove that?
Prove it? Well, yes. Yes. Her fingerprints on the mallet. The
Why,
handle.
George, don't you remember when you made me touch the mallet when you picked it up with your handkerchief? George, I'm sure you wiped that handle clean. Oh, well, I can hardly expect you to remember that if you can't even remember killing the curate.
I told you to keep still, George. I am thinking.
Well, Governor, you're not going to let him say that.
As long as I can remember, George, you have been a trial and tribulation to me.
What?
You shouldn't have done it, George.
Oh.
You shouldn't have done it. Now let's all have a nice hot cup of tea. Warms the cockles of the arms. Very good for you. Mother, where's the sugar?
And so closes Wet Saturday, starring Mr. Charles Lawton, tonight's tale of Suspense.
In just a moment, we shall hear again from Mr. Lawton. But first, let me ask you a question. Isn't it true that things we most enjoy are so often the little extra things, and more often than not, something that pleases the taste? That suggests a bottle of really good wine, Roma wine. It's so easy for you to make certain of high quality in your wine because all you have to do is to go to your dealer and ask for Roma, America's largest selling wines. They are made in California, one of the world's greatest wine-producing sections. You'll have your choice of Roma's great variety of types, from a delicious tangy sherry, a brilliant claret, or a hearty burgundy to a sweeter, heavier port. And you will be so impressed by the modest cost of Roma wines, you will want to enjoy them regularly at home as well as when you entertain. For this traditional form of hospitality is smart, yet inexpensive. A full measure of enjoyment, yet moderation in its best sense. For wines with greatness of character, always ask for Roma wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. But remember, before you buy wine, buy war bonds and stamps.
Hello, this is Charles Lawton. I hope you enjoyed our play this evening. Next week, I'm told that Suspense will bring you another of John Collier's stories. It's one of my very particular favorites. It's called Back for Christmas, and your star will be Peter Lorre.
Charles Lawton appeared by courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producer of the Technicolor musical Thousands Cheer. Don't forget, then, next Thursday, same time, for Peter Lorre in Suspense.
Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.